Salutations, fellow nerds. I'm Rick Y, and today is March 7th, 2025, and I'm going to do a little more off-the-cuff stuff today here in my office area. We're in the middle of some aesthetically pleasing background updates, so if you just bear with me, keep in mind if I can stay here at the desk, it will make it a lot easier for me than if I were to continue in the garage. But I've also invested in some better audio material that will allow me to get interviews and on-the-scene material in the future, which I think will be beneficial for both myself and you all. These past few days have been a bit of a head-scratcher for me, because as economic numbers continue to roll in, it's clear to me that Trump's economy is getting plastered, and he's tanked the stock market. Not once, but twice in his second term. So what gives? I will try to break down some of my assumptions here today, so if you dig news, history, and humorous American hogwash, drop a blue whatever in the comments section for me, and let's get this discussion going. So, when Trump stated that he was going to help the economy, he said he would do so on day one. Keep in mind, he actually said that the stock markets under Biden were only doing well because they thought Trump would be president. Yet, as we march into his second term, Trump is doing everything that he can to refuse taking credit for those new economic numbers. And if we're keeping them honest, Donald Trump took credit for trajectories that had been set under Obama's first term. Yet, in 2018, Trump tried to say that he was the reason for economic growth in his first 2 years, which had been comparable to those in 2015 under his predecessor. Another example of this is eggs. He wouldn't shut up about eggs, but here we are, 3 months into his term, and the egg prices are still Biden's fault. So, as it was portrayed brilliantly by Sebastian Stan in The Apprentice, it's this manic need to take zero credit for negative news and take every ounce of credit with positive news. The problem is, I'm actually starting to see a grift occurring, and I posted it a day or so ago, and I think I'm kind of seeing a pattern here when it comes to these tariffs. We need to remember that Donald Trump is purely transactional. There is no deal in which he will walk away feeling like he got screwed, and to be perfectly honest with you, I think the media is kind of playing into his little game. At this point, it happened twice, and while poor workers get screwed as their 401ks get thrown around like a kitten in a clothes dryer, his billionaire buddies are making bank. And let me tell you how they're doing it. Step one, Trump announces these tariffs. They don't need to be for any good reason. I mean, he could blame Canada on Musk's kid wiping his booger on the desk, and boom, 25% tariffs. What this does is it, too, makes stocks plunge. People selling off like crazy. This causes the stocks to lower in cost, and bam, you have what Warren Buffett calls blood in water. And as Warren Buffett would also advise, step three, buy a bucket load of stocks at discounted prices. Don't act like you don't take advantage of going out of business sales, because it's the exact same thing for this. The thing is, once he knows those investors are fat and happy, boom, he makes a deal. He doesn't really get anything but a way to publicly tell consumers that he's done. The tariffs are now on hold for whatever reason because, I don't know, he says Canada has promised $5 million in booger wipe compensation or whatever. They don't need to actually make him any promise. They just need to make it look as if there was some kind of negotiation that occurred. Canada could have already had a huge surplus of snot rags and was already donating them. It doesn't matter. Because this is when the tomfoolery truly begins. The stock markets, hypothetically, go back up, even if they're not as good as they were before the tariffs. And there you have it. His friends rake in the millions of dollars in stocks after having a small, albeit controlled, window of opportunity to grab those stocks at a cheap rate. I must say, there is no better time to start hitting politicians with limits on their investing and stock market participation. I cannot say whether or not this is true, but it would stand to reason. It is legal insider trading at its finest. And the biggest kick in the teeth is they're profiting off of your retirement again. Not only are they gutting Social Security, they're now screwing around with your stock portfolios. They're fleecing of you of your future, and when Trump gets kickbacks, It will all be in cryptocurrency. You won't be able to trace any of it. They've set up the biggest insider trading and money laundering scheme ever known. Again, I can't confirm nor deny whether or not any of this is true. However, all of the patterns seem to align, and I'm not the only one who's saying it. Multiple economists are already starting to throw in some yellow flags on the play. Unfortunately, I'm not sure we're going to take notice until it's too late. And if that does happen to be the truth, those who stand to lose the most are those at the bottom rungs of our society. Those who need the most help, but will get the most hurt. And that is something that we all can stand against together. Anyways, I appreciate it if you've hung in there and gave me my chance to rant about my little own conspiracy theories. If you would consider liking and subscribing, it would go a long way in getting these good messages out there. You all come back now. You hear?